What's up, everybody? 40 the Broadway Saiyan here, and in this video, we're going to ask the question, should you pull for Prim, as she is going to be featured on a rate-up banner soon in Eversoul? Let's go ahead and get right to it. Alright guys, you know the drill. Before we go ahead and get started, if you enjoy what you see on this channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell, that way you guys are not missing out on future uploads. Leave a like on this video and comment down below what you think of the character Prim, and if you don't have her, are you going to be summoning for her when her rate-up banner goes live very soon in Eversoul? So if you guys watched my previous video, you know that on top of the Valentines event, which will be going live tonight on Eversoul after maintenance, one of the pickup banners that's going to be featured is going to be featuring an existing character, which is Prim. And I got the idea to actually make this video for you guys by my boy Uno Knight, who's also a fellow Eversoul content creator, so be sure to check him out. I'm going to be leaving his channel down below in the video description as well as the pinned comments. He's a very underrated content creator for this game. I love his analysis on things, so be sure to check it out. But we're going to ask ourselves the question, should you be pulling for Prim on this rate-up banner? So we're going to go ahead and take a look at Prim first and see what she brings to the table. I'm going to give you guys my personal opinions about this character, and then afterwards answer that question. So I'm going to go ahead and click on my Prim, who is Eternal right now. And one of the things that I love about this game is right after you click on any of your units, you see that little icon up on the upper left-hand corner? That shows you all characters at their very highest potential. So I really like that. A lot of people thought that I have all the characters at Origin. That is not the case. They have an archive where you could look at all these characters so you could see how well they will be at having their stats and all that at max. So definitely utilize that. But we're going to go right here to Prim because we want to see what she brings to the table at full capacity. So as you can see right there, her attack stat is actually kind of decent for a healer. Because Ingame currently right now is the highest attacker, that has the highest attack in the game at max, and Prim's is actually not too bad. Defense is a little lacking, but she is a support character, so you definitely are not going to put her in the front line. And then everything else about her is pretty cool. I like the 5% lifesteal and a pretty decent evasion too. But we're going to go ahead and take a look at her skills. So her main skill, it pretty much does an AoE heal, and then it removes 2 debuffs. And if you have this fully upgraded, the heal is even greater, and it removes 3 debuffs. I'm going to say right now that this heal is super useful. I love it. I love how it's tied to a main skill, and it's not tied to an ultimate. For example, I know that it's a bit of a different heal, but Talia's big heal comes in the form of her ultimate, whereas her main skill is heal over time. This is a really good heal, and I like how it removes debuffs, especially when you're up against fights where they have a lot of characters with dot effects. For example, you'll come across fights where there's a Nini there, there's an enemy Sherry there, an Ingame. So this is a really good skill to have accessible to for a main skill, and I really like this about Prim. Her sub skill, which is Will There Be Pigeons, pretty much targets the ally with the lowest HP. It also recovers their HP based on attack, and then it also deals damage equal to enemies in that targeted area. And then what it does is, if you have it fully upgraded, it increases that target ally's defense by 10%, and then decreases the enemy defense by 10%. So this is nifty to have. I think it's really cool that, and it's kind of like a situation where let's say an ally is at low health and they just happen to be within that range. If this triggers off, it kind of gives you an extra lifeline, which is really cool. So I really like this sub skill on Prim, on top of the other heal that she already has from her main skill. And then her other sub is called Abracadabra. So she pretty much gives an attack increase within that 3-meter circular area. And as you can see right there, it goes all the way up to 25% for 12 seconds. This is really cool to have. Especially if units are around her. Very good to increase your DPS. Her passive is Trick, so this mesmerizes enemies, and what this does is the chances of our team getting hit by critical hits, it decreases. And in this game where critical hits can really matter, this is huge, and having that decreased to protect us from these critical hits is really nice. And then finally, her ultimate is actually a damaging ultimate, which is interesting for a support unit, but pretty much it deals damage based on attack equal to a 3-meter circular area to the nearest enemy and those around it. And then it does have a stun effect. So I like how the stun effect is tied to its base version. So you don't need to upgrade this just to have that stun. And then afterwards, the damage changes to 345 and 370. That multiplier is actually kind of high. It's actually higher than Valana's when I'm come to think of it, except it's just not AoE. It does have that, that 3-meter circular area. So, if there's a bunch of enemies clumped together, you could potentially press this. I personally don't really use it that often because if I'm bringing Prim, I'm bringing her for her support, for her ability to remove debuffs, and also for her ability to have that extra lifeline with her sub skill and that attack increase to allies from her other subs. So overall, I think Prim is a great character. I have her at Eternal. Now, should you be pulling for this character is the question that we're going to answer. Me personally, I am running Undead right now since I did invest highly into Valana, and Prim is one of the healers that I like to use. Right now, I run a double healer comp with my Valana, so sometimes I'll be running, let's say, like Catherine, because Catherine is just an overall good support character to have. And for the second healer, it's either going to be Jiho or it's going to be Prim, depending on the fight that I am facing against. And Prim performs. She really, really does. So for me personally, I am on the fence about investing in this banner only because I know that there's a new character coming out that I'm really deciding on to pull for. But she's a great pickup, especially for those of you that are still lacking, a good healer. Now, if you're really focusing on an undead team, I'd say that this is potentially worth a pickup. But you got to remember, there are 2 other pickup banners coming out, which is Mika and Siha. If you are running Beast and you're not really focused on Undead, you might want to consider maybe not spending on this banner. And also, we know that on the 16th, Hongland is coming out, and there's also a lot of big hype around that character because her kit is pretty loaded. So if you're saving, I would potentially wait on spending on this banner because you could potentially pull Prim from the normal summon, you could pull her from the friendship summon, you could pull her also on Undead, on the type summon if it's set to Undead. So if you're not in a rush for a really, really good support character, I would say wait. But if you're focusing on an undead team, if you're looking for a good healer that can cleanse, that can do all sorts of things to support the party, and also have an ultimate that deals a pretty good amount of damage, then she might be a character worth looking into. I definitely think that her pickup banner has more value than the other 2 pickup banners coming out, which is going to be for Mika and Siha. That's just my personal opinion on it, but I think she's great. Again, judge it on your resources, on the teams that you're looking to build, on the factions that you're focusing on, and you should be able to make that decision for yourselves. Do your research on these characters too. You got the private website, you got other content creators besides myself, so then that way you can formulate your own educated decision on whether or not you should be investing on these pickup banners and on these characters. Alright guys, well this is going to go ahead and conclude my video for should you pull for Prim on her Raid Up banner that's going to be going live soon in Eversoul. Hopefully it helps you guys out. Thank you guys again for watching. Stay tuned for the next video and stay blessed, everybody.